Good day, everybody, and welcome to Coffee Jolt with Johnny Cleveland. We're in the house. This is the Fanatical Elves Network, part of Fans First Sports Network. Boom. It's Tuesday, June 25th. Love having you here on the ride. If you're a Fanatical Elves fan, thank you for being here. We love being here. We love talking about the Cleveland Brownies. Got my coffee. We're waking up. I could go outside. I thought about it. It's a beautiful day here in the Buckeye State. Sunny skies. It's a little warm. So staying inside this morning, but we're trying to match my orange shirt with the orange banner there. There you go. So yeah, it's Tuesday, and Browns, what are we doing? Well, there's not a ton of news out there currently. I did want to hit on a couple topics. Of course, Nick Chubb is one of them. Love Nick Chubb, don't we all? And I was going back through some articles and some different things I've written in the past, and was working on one on Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb, we don't know. Is he returning in week one or not? We had that really interesting article that came out about a week ago or so by Chris Esterling. We should be having him on our shows coming up here. We've made a request to meet up with him. He did an interview with Nick, and he's agreed to come on. So we're hoping to get him on here soon. Also, talk to Cameron Justice. Thank you, Cameron Justice. Many of you know Cameron Justice. She's a wonderful Channel 5 up there in Cleveland, sports, all that sort of thing. Many of you follow her on various social media platforms, and we've had a chance to talk to her. I know she was on the show with Lou Marconi recently on the Burning River Browns Friday night edition, and we're excited. We're going to have her come on another show, probably one of my Johnny Cleveland episodes, so look forward to that. So, like I said, it's Tuesday. It's a slow day in the world of Browns news. Now, before we get into some of the Browns news, I do want to give a shout out to those guards. Man, the Guardians, 6 in a row again. They just picked up win number 50. They're 50 wins, 26 losses. I've been talking about it like you've been talking about it, and I keep thinking, okay, when are they going to start losing games? Everyone keeps talking about them not having good starting pitching. I agree. They somehow keep winning. Stephen Kwan, this guy, where the hell did he come from? And I know Noah Olson, his East Bank Sports show, talked about it on their program. That episode is out. Tune into that. Great stuff there. He's a big Stevie Kwan fan. What has he got, 7 or 8 home runs right now? Most in his career already. Kid's a little munchkin, and he's knocking them out of the park. Man, you got to figure the ball's juiced or something, man. I don't know. Jose Ramirez continues to smack the ball around all over the field. Josh Naylor, my gosh, the kid just loves baseball, right? He hits a home run. It's towering. Reminds me a little bit of, well, not really, Travis Hafner. Remember Travis Hafner? What a great pull hitter, deep ball hitter. Of course, nobody compares to Jim Thome. But, I can't go there right now yet when we talk about the guards. Some people, especially younger fans of the team, want to start comparing this team to be one of the best ever. And after living through the 95, the 97 season, those teams with Baerga and Lofton, Albert Bell, all that pitching, Oral Hershiser, Dennis Martinez, I can't say that this team is that good. I think they're playing in a weak division. I think the teams, the Kansas City Royals, the Minnesota Twins, the Detroit Tigers, they're not great teams. And the Chicago White Sox, oh my God, they're awful. So they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're winning games, and that's great. But I don't put them up there yet. Now, if they continue to win at the pace that they're winning, and they get up to that 100 win mark, yeah, I'll start talking about it. I mean, when the Indians won 100 games back in 97, was it 97? No, 95, in that shortened strike season, and lost 44 games. That was pretty magical. It's too bad that they lost that World Series, but they were young, they were new, playing the Braves in that World Series. David Justice broke our hearts. And we, of course, bring David Justice to Cleveland for a few years. We always seem to do that. We bring these guys like, was it Joe Kent or Kent? Brought him in. All these players that were kind of going through their final years, try to bring them into Cleveland and help the team. And some of them did. So the Guards are playing fantastic baseball right now. So look forward to seeing what they can do there in Baltimore. Surprisingly, Baltimore, I mean, the Orioles are really up there right with the Yankees. So good stuff there. Should be another good battle tonight. I don't know who the pitching matchups are, but we'll tune in. The other big news in Cleveland sports is Kenny Atkinson has been signed as the new Cavalier head coach. Kenny Atkinson, a lifelong assistant for the most part, most recently with Golden State Warriors, had been the head coach of the Brooklyn Nets for 4 years and did some good things. A lot of people talk about his player development and bringing players along and getting the most out of players like D'Angelo Russell when he was in his prime. So, Kenny Atkinson, congratulations. It was down to him and that Baraga or whatever guy, and we wouldn't be able to pronounce his name. So it's good that we'll just stick with Kenny Atkinson. Everybody can know that name easier. I don't know. But Atkinson is prime. They say that he runs a run and gun up and down offense. His sets, it's a motion offense that is, constantly giving various looks. So you get a first look, you get a second look, you get a third option, you get a fourth option. So it's a motion offense. So instead of supposedly what the Cavs were doing with JB would be they run one option, maybe two, and then they just do the high pick and roll with Mitchell and whomever, Allen or Mobley. And so now we'll see some things. We'll see, they have had some of the higher 3-point shooting efforts by various teams when Atkinson has been part of them. Players that are on kind of that bubble, my buddy Dean Wade hopefully he'll stay here in Cleveland. He's an excellent 3-point shooter, can do a lot of other things too. So I'm hoping that maybe Atkinson can put a player like that in the more motion on the offense and not have them stand out in the corner like they did with him and like Kevin Love back in the day. Isaac Okoro, what will they do with him? And all this griping. I mean, I get so annoyed with people really are putting down Darius Garland. I mean, come on, leave Darius Garland alone. Some of these morons who I listen to up in Cleveland, these takes on Darius Garland are just so not the case, man. Garland is an excellent point guard. And for you to say that he's the third or fourth best option on most other teams, you're out of your minds. You just have no clue. You just don't follow basketball enough. You don't pay attention to what's good basketball. I'm not saying Darius Garland is out of the moon, outstanding, whatever, but he has been an all-star. He's been terrific. He's making adjustments with Donovan Mitchell. The two of them can play along each other. Give them an opportunity. Give them an opportunity. All right, folks, we're going to pause for a quick break here on the Coffee Jolt with Johnny Cleveland. We'll be right back. We're going to talk about the Browns and Nick Chubb when we return. Hey, we're back. I didn't stop on the number 13. I don't like 13, and on this background music I got here, if I stop on 13, it's a bad sign. So I moved it to 14. Let me get a cup of my coffee. All right, so the Browns, not a lot of news. I did see that they picked up a new physician. I know one of the Dog Pound Daily, Randy Gurzy, who I've given shots out before, and I used to write for Dog Pound Daily. They did sign, he wrote an article about how the Browns picked up this new physician. His name is Dustin Nabhan, Nabhan. And we know when we talk about the Brownies and their injuries and all these issues that they've had off the field with that. So they're bringing in a new guy. Hopefully he'll help this team. I mean, some of that is just acts of God. It's just how it happens. You know, I'm sure that the doctors that were there previously in Cleveland were not awful, but people want to give that perception because there were injuries. But why do you have to blame the doctor for that? Doesn't make a lot of sense. But they do have another doctor in there, so maybe he'll make some progress, and the Browns will magically not have any injuries this year. Oh, hooray. So, all right, Nick Chubb. You know, what else can we talk about with Nick Chubb other than I did write an article that I've been kind of retweaking and going back and looking at some of his best games. And the kid's been with the Browns now for 6 years, going into year number 7. We don't know when he's going to actually return, but I did have a chance to look at some of those games in his past that have been his best. I mean, to be honest, most games that Nick Chubb plays in are outstanding. So to get it knocked down to 10 was a little bit of a, difficult thing. But, many of us, you might remember that first game. Do you remember him playing in that first game out there in 2018, out there in Oakland with the against the Raiders? You probably, if you were, watching that game, you probably had never heard of Nick Chubb other than, he got drafted in the second round and he was magical. He scored on 2 touchdowns that were, one was 60 plus yards. The other one was 40 yards plus. He ended up, only having 3 carries in the day, but every time he touched the ball, it was magic. And it was just something special. We hadn't seen that in any kind of Cleveland Browns running back forever. And so that was one game that I mentioned in this article. There were several other games. One that always pops in my mind was in that 2020 season. It was against the Washington Redskins. They're not the Redskins, the Washington football team. Do you remember that game in 2020? It was a home game in Cleveland. And Nick was something special that game. He had a couple runs early where he tried going one way and he got tackled. But he's such a study of the game. Watched, the film in between plays, talked to his coaches, and instinctively made better moves the second, third, and fourth time that he got in there, was able to score a couple touchdowns, one late in that game that really sealed the deal for the Browns in that win against Washington back in 2020. That was a big one. Some of us forget about in that week 2 game when the Browns had the home season opener against the Jets that they blew. Nick Chubb actually scored. He was phenomenal in that game. He was just unstoppable. He actually scored. And some people want to blame him, saying, well, he shouldn't have scored. Or should have, are you kidding me? Come on, man. He's already done that before. I won't, that was a game back in Houston, or a home game back in 2020 that kind of sealed the deal for a win over the Texans when he did run out of bounds, or didn't run out of bounds, but let the clock keep running, and then the Browns were able to take a knee and win that game. So in that Jets game, it still irritates me that people bring that up. Like, he should have just not scored. Like, dude, you're up big. You're going to go up 2 touchdowns. Our field goal kicker missed the extra point, if you remember. The Browns would have gone up 14 points with, 2 minutes to play? I mean, come on. You can't blame Nick for that. Ridiculous. Just ridiculous. So there you go. There's a couple games there that were just really amazing. I won't give away any more, other than I will say that there was the game before the last game of the regular season, the Browns had to win against Pittsburgh back in 2020. Man, what a great game too! In that effort, he was unstoppable. Had some big runs early in that game. Looking back here, he had a 47-yard touchdown run. He had multiple 10-yard carries. Finished with 108 yards and only 14 carries in that game when they played the Steelers that they had to win to get into the playoffs. The following week, they had to play the Steelers again in Pittsburgh. We all know how that ended, with the Browns humiliating those Squealers and winning that game. So lots of great moments when we think about Nick Chubb. Just want to give him a shout out. So we got a busy week ahead. Lots of shows coming up. We've got the East Bank Sports Show with Noah that should be hitting the airwaves here shortly. Bernie Brown's River Talk with our buddy Lou. That'll be hitting the waves as well. We just had our colleague Steve Gill with his Dog Pound South show, and we've got lots of shows coming up this week. Browns Blitz and the Johnny Cleveland Show. So tune in. We're going to be giving away more free stuff. So be paying attention to your social media platform, especially the X, where if you follow us and repost the free stuff, you're entered and you could win. We've had several winners the last couple of weeks. Love it. Our beach towel winner, it was Joshua. He got his towel recently, shared that with us. Thank you very much for that. I hope you guys all enjoy those free gifts. We love giving stuff away. We're a bunch of wild and crazy Browns fans just like you, and I think that that's what makes this network unique. And I know you listen to some other podcasts, and those other podcasters are good. Nothing to take away from those other podcasters, but I think we all bring a variety of takes, and I think that that brings a lot of energy and spirit to our programming. So tune back in. All you got to do is subscribe to Apple, Spotify, and Band. It comes right on your phone. You know, you pull on your phone, you open your phone, and I'll do right here. Oh, there's my beautiful wife, Laura, on my screenshot. So there you go, Laura. And it's just right there. It says Fanatical Elves. Here's the next episode, right? You never miss. You never miss an episode. So, thanks again. Go Browns. Coffee Jolt with Johnny Cleveland. Take care, everybody.